Welcome back, class. Today's study is the psychology of every Warwick player. Now I bet you're already thinking, wait a minute, Warwick players don't have a brain. And to that I say, all League of Legends players have a brain, silly. Some, including this one, are just much more unique than the others. They don't all have to be complex to study. And so today, we'll study all 5 parts of the Warwick player's brain. Starting with the first region, which all top laners should already be familiar with. This is the level 1 all-in center. And it's exactly what you think it is. When Warwick players step onto the rift, they don't want to waste time before they start fighting. They don't care about positioning or warding or leashing like everyone else. They just want to see the enemy team on their screen so they can hit them. So sometimes this means walking straight down their lane with a Doran's blade and sitting in a bush. And if this is a jungle Warwick, they might end up on the enemy buff all by themselves. Because Warwick players know that he's strong level 1. And that's really one of the only things they do know. Because even if the enemy team has Olaf or Darius or Trundle, they're still gonna do this. And if they lose to someone who has a better level 1, it doesn't mean they'll learn from it. They'll just come back and try it again when they're 0-1. And if it's a jungle Warwick who solo invaded the enemy team and died to their whole team, they probably won't even blame their teammates or say anything in chat. Because they probably don't even understand why it didn't work in the first place. Because this part of the brain runs on mostly hope rather than knowledge. They know Warwick usually wins level 1. They just don't know why or how. And they probably never will. But that's okay, because they probably win at least half the time. And just having the chance to fight someone is what makes the Warwick player happy. And that bit of knowledge right there is going to come in handy in the next part of the brain. This is the Blood Hunt GPS. And as we just said, Warwick players, they just want to fight. And they would much rather fight champs than camps. And once they unlock their Blood Hunt ability, it makes it pretty easy to do just that. Because the second Warwick players smell someone under half health, they're going to ditch everything to go finish the job. And they're probably not even going to look at the map to see who it is or where they are. They're just going to follow the Blood Hunt GPS and hope for the best. And if that means diving somebody under turret while they recall, then so be it. Because once this part of the brain triggers, it puts the Warwick player into a trance-like state. And there's really no denying the call of the wild. And now you may think I'm only talking about jungle Warwicks who do this. But you would be mistaken. Because a top lane Warwick would be just as likely to go abandon his lane to go get a kill somewhere else. Because in League of Legends, there are thinkers and there are killers. And Warwick players are not thinkers. And because of this, you'll usually see really high numbers on their KDA, and really low numbers on their CS. People often call Warwick players dogs as an insult, and they're really not too far off, because Warwick players do have the same mentality as a high-strung dog who just wants to play. So when they see the Blood Hunt GPS pop up on their screen, it's like a dog hearing a squeaky toy from across the house, and they just can't resist it. And by now you might be realizing, yes, Warwick players are pretty weird, but it only gets worse from here, because now we'll talk about the lifesteal dependence node. Now, it's no secret that Warwick has a lot of built-in lifesteal, and it only gets higher the lower he is on health. So needless to say, Warwick players have developed an extreme overdependence on this lifesteal. So when they pick a fight, which they will, it always goes to the death. Because even if they're not winning at first, they might still win if they get enough lifesteal towards the end. So you'll always see Warwick players running face first into fights, but never away from them. There's only 2 possible outcomes. Warwick kills everybody on his screen, or he dies in the process. Because one thing you'll never see is a Warwick player recalling before the fight is over. Because in this part of the Warwick player's brain, they believe that as long as there is lifesteal, then there's still a way for them to win that fight, no matter how slim those odds may be. Never tell a Warwick player the odds. They'll just say, nah, I'd win, and it's impossible to talk them out of it. And now for a bonus. This is the part of the brain that every person watching currently has. It's the part of the brain that makes you forget to support the creator. In fact, the most recent studies even show that over 90% of you are not even subscribed to this channel. So please do your part in this short segment and like the video and subscribe, and leave a suggestion in the comments for which champion we should brain study next. And now we proceed to the 4th part of the Warwick player's brain. This is the fight or fight instinct. And no, I didn't say that wrong. To Warwick players, their only option all game is to just fight. And yes, you've definitely heard me say that in this video already. But for a brain as simple as this one, you may say it lacks other options. And that is exactly how the Warwick players want it to be. So they've developed this part of their brain to ensure that there is no other option. Fighting is the only way. He doesn't have the fastest jungle clear, and he's an early game skewed champion. But that's the logical reason for this. But the real reason is that Warwick players themselves are not so different from real dogs. Where most junglers should be thinking about objective timers and map pressure, Warwick players, they're really only thinking about who they should kill next. They could follow the red trail to top lane. But wait, a second trail just showed up bot lane. And Warwick players get so excited by seeing this that they just go to whichever one is closest. Doesn't matter if there's a real opportunity or not. And it definitely doesn't matter if he's already bottom side when dragon spawned. Because a Warwick player would rather follow the trail all the way to top lane than sit still for 30 seconds and hit an objective for the team. And if there's no one for this doggy to play with, he'll find someone. They'll go stick their nose in the enemy jungle to see if they can find someone to play with. And they won't do so gracefully. They'll probably step over top of 6 different wards on the way there, then get collapsed on by 3 different players with his team nowhere to be found. But the thing is, there really was no other option for the Warwick player, because their only options are fight or fight. And Warwick players aren't just doing this while they're ahead. It doesn't matter how far they are behind, they're still going to go for fights every chance they get. So Warwick players will either get really ahead or feed really, really hard. But you shouldn't expect them to know better. They're just Warwick players. And now, we'll finally move on to the last part of the Warwick player's brain, the leap of faith. Now finally, after 3 kills and 4 deaths, they've finally reached level 6. And now the Warwick player has their ultimate, Infinite Duress. Now keep in mind, this is the Warwick player's only skill shot in their entire kit, and yet they somehow seem to never land it, and it really can be a sight to behold. So much so that it's even become a popular meme among the community. You'll see clips where it looks like a definite kill for the Warwick, and then they proceed to whiff in the most hilarious way possible. But Riot Games should have known better than to give Warwick players a skill shot, so it's not really completely their fault. It's the same reason you don't hand a toddler the keys to a Ferrari, and Riot didn't give them just any skill shot. No, they specifically entrusted the Warwick players with one of the furthest reaching ultimates in the game. A Warwick running at full speed might as well be a Vex or a Briar ult. But at least for those champions, if they miss, nothing happens. If a Warwick player inevitably misses, they end up in uncharted territory. They don't just shoot a skill shot, they are the skill shot. You know, you actually have to hand it to Riot Games. They may not be the best company in the whole world, but they might actually be the funniest company if you think about it. So if you hear a loud crash and a lot of growling late at night, don't be immediately concerned. A Warwick player somehow, somewhere probably just missed their ultimate, and they're probably more afraid than you are in this moment. But they'll just play some Animals by Maroon 5 and begin the walk of shame back to where they came from. And this concludes the psychology of every Warwick player. Like the video, comment down below who we should study next, and subscribe for more knowledge.